recording.
I'm recording.
What's going on, everybody? Tello Talk Podcast back with another episode today. Is episode, I believe, 14. Second one of the week. On Monday, I had the college football podcast where I dropped my top 25 for college football playoff week 2 rankings for me. I posted on Instagram my top 6 as well. Make sure to check that out, Tello Talk Sports. But today, we're going to be going on to the professional route of football, bringing it back to the NFL like, me, Cam, and Michael always do. Today, we are going to be talking about our mid-season awards. This last week was the end of week 9, and as it is an 18-week schedule, we decided after week 9 is when we're going to do our mid-season awards because half of 18 is 9. And then also, Cam and I, Michael will have to leave a little early but through the recording, but Cam and I will go through our playoff predictions as well. But obviously, we're going to start off with our mid-season awards. So let's quit with all the shenanigans. Let's get it going, and we'll start off right now with offensive rookie of the year. I'm gonna let Cameron start us off with this one, and then Michael carry on after him, and I'll be last.
Yeah. So offensive rookie of the year, pretty straightforward for me. I picked Kenneth Walker. He's been the driving factor behind Geno Smith, helping the Seahawks to get to the record that they've got. And the reason why I picked Geno Smith over someone like Chris Olave, helping his team win, sorry?
You said Geno Smith, you mean Kenneth Walker?
Did I say Geno Smith? I meant
Kenneth
Walker.
Yeah.
So the reason why I said Kenneth Walker, not the highest draft pick, of course, as running backs shouldn't be in the draft. We're seeing that now with Najee. He's helping drive his team and to wins. And the Seahawks, nobody predicted they'd be 6-3, and Kenneth Walker's kind of the reason why that is.
Yeah. All right, Michael.
So, yeah, same offensive rookie of the year. That's up for a round, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to go with Kenneth Walker. He's been doing so much. You can't deny that he is one of the biggest carries for Seahawks besides Geno Smith.
We were talking about this before the recording, but they're going to call me biased just because of this. However, I've got my offensive rookie of the year as none other than Chris Olave, the first-round pick for the New Orleans Saints. And here's why. Kenneth Walker, he's done so much already in the little games, the little time he's had as the starting running back for the Seahawks, and I mean, all respect to him. I think he's by far a top 3 rookie in the league alongside Chris Olave, offensive rookie alongside Chris Olave and Dameon Pierce. But reason I picked Olave is there's games that you can see on his where he has multiple receptions. Week 2 and 3 he both had 13 targets, and then week 7 he had 14 targets. But a lot of those targets aren't really his fault. They're kind of quarterbacks not making good throws. I mean, Jameis Winston and Andy Dalton so far this year haven't really helped out Chris Olave too much. He does have 2 games over 100 yards so far in his career. I believe he's sitting at a total of 618 receiving yards, puts him 9th in the NFL, and he's doing that only on 43 receptions. So he is averaging quite a bit yards he is averaging about 14 yards per reception. And looking at that, if you give him a Tyreek Hill number of receptions, which is 76, you do 76 times 14.4. He's got 1,094. If he had the same amount of receptions and he keeps his pace up, he'd be second in the league for. If he had 76 right now, he'd be second in the league in receiving yards. I just think Chris Olave is a very generational talent. They struck gold with him. He's an Ohio State receiver. The Saints love their Ohio State receivers, but that's why I've got Chris Olave. But all respect to Kenneth Walker, I love him. I love seeing a Michigan State guy go out there and do well. 570 rushing yards on only 111 attempts. It's pretty nice to see. I'd say that for Kenneth Walker, but I've got Chris Olave. For defensive rookie of the year, I'm expecting all of us to have the same guy, but we'll get it started. For me, I've got Sauce Gardner, I think it's pretty much just pretty evident why. He has incredible coverage. I believe 56.8, give or take a couple numbers, is the passer rating he has allowed this year. I mean, people were wondering, okay, yeah, he played at Cincinnati for 4 years. Is he going to be able to bring that type of play to the NFL? And I mean, he's doing it. He's got 30. He's got 44 total tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 13 pass deflections. Like that is absolutely insane. I'm pretty sure that might be first in the league.
It is.
The fact that he has defended 13 passes as a rookie already in the season, alongside 2 interceptions, which is good for him, um, including the interception against Josh Allen this last week. It's just, I think he's honestly a lock at this point. If he keeps playing like he does, Sauce Gardner's gonna win Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. You know. Let me ask you guys a question.
He brings the sauce.
When you go to Buffalo Wild Wings and you order some wings, you order your wings plain.
Nah.
Nah, you order them with the sauce.
Yes, sir.
Sauce Gardner has been a
Oh,
stud,
man.
showing why he should have been the first corner taken off of the board instead of not Asante Samuel.
Eric Stingley Jr.
Derek Stingley. Sorry. Um, just a dog, overall dog, and he's the reason why the Jets have been so good. That defense, he's leading that defense right now, and they held the Bills last week to 17. Sauce Gardner, and I think he's defensive rookie of the year lock halfway through.
Michael?
Yeah, I mean that Buffalo Wild Wings analogy was pretty spot on. Exactly how we should feel about Sauce Gardner because he's one of the reasons why the Jets defense is stopping from so many points being allowed. Because I don't think they've had like a super high scoring game yet this year. I could be wrong, but
They had
it's
one.
because it's because of Sauce. Like he's been doing so good, and like you said, 13 as a rookie. That's nuts. That's insane. He's doing so good, and he's leading the league as a rookie for the New York Jets. I would have never thought the New York Jets would have been positive at this point in the year last year.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to look at. I mean, they're giving up 19.6 points per game to their opponents. So, and in the NFL, if you're holding a team under 20 points, you're going to win most games unless you're the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are also giving up 19.8 when they're 3-6. But
Yeah, and you still the
especially when,
Raiders and you lose to the Saints 0-24.
what's up?
You lose if you're the Raiders too, and you lose to the Saints 0-24.
Yes, well, that was 2 weeks ago, so we don't even talk on it. But
Yeah, I don't like it though.
with Sauce Gardner, I mean, that secondary is a big part of the Jets, and the fact that they got him. No disrespect to Derek Stingley Jr. either. Hasn't given up a single touchdown this year, so I mean he's very good. I think all of us can mutually agree that Sauce Gardner is already looking like a top 10 corner in the NFL. So I think that's why we've got him at defense. All three of us defensive rookie of the year. All right, so we'll move on. We'll go to comeback player of the year. Michael, I want you to start us off for this, and then Cameron and
Me?
Yes.
So for me, I got good old Geno Smith. Because Geno, he's been amazing this year, and he deserves comeback player of the year because there's just so much going on in this game that he's been doing, almost throwing. He threw almost 300 yards last week, and with one pick, his passer rating's been almost over 100 every single game. His overall for the regular season so far is 107. It's not bad, and
That's
like
great.
he deserves the comeback for a reason. He deserves it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I also had Geno Smith in there. Simply because he does lead the league in the passer completion percentage. Um, he's been really solid. Alongside Kenneth Walker and Tyler Lockett, who apparently I learned today doesn't like to get hit. Um, If I saw a video of him catching
No, those
balls
are
and
funny.
immediately going down.
Those are funny.
Yeah, he doesn't like to get hit, so he's gonna probably play till he's 45. But Geno Smith, I mean, he'll play till he's 45 too if he continues to play at the rate that he does because he has been so solid for the Seahawks. He's the reason why they are in the lead in the NFC West and in the position that they're in now. Nobody, like I said before, nobody expected the Seahawks to be good, and as Geno once said, they wrote him off, but he ain't right back though.
That is a good point. Yeah. I mean, Geno Smith. Yeah, they did write him off. He ain't right back though. However, I do not have Geno Smith as my comeback player of the year. There's another guy that a lot of people wrote off in fantasy, especially. Said his ADP was a little too high. However, he is proving them wrong. My comeback player of the year is Saquon Barkley, and the reason for that is coming back. I mean, he played 13 games last year. However, he did deal with some injuries, and didn't really play very well. I mean, in 13 games, he had 593 yards. He didn't really get to run that much. He had 162 carries in those 13 games, and through 8, he's already got 163, 779 yards. He is averaging 97.4 yards a game, which is his career high. So far. And I just think he's just Brian DeBole has just unleashed this new version of Saquon, and we're starting to see the Penn State Saquon coming back to us. He's almost averaging 5 yards a carry again. He hasn't done that since 2019, which was his sophomore season, and we're starting to see that good Saquon again. I mean, he's also getting that passing game a little bit. He's got 28 receptions for 189 yards. Only 5 touchdowns on the ground this year, none in the air. But he's got 36 first downs accounted for so far this year, and he's starting to look very good again. He's just looking like himself, that Penn State self, and I do think that Brian DeBole is a little bit to account for it, but Saquon's also one of the best running backs in the league. And the fact that he's third in rushing yards is big reason why I've got him at comeback player of the year.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to take us to our next one, which I think you were just talking about him.
I was just talking about one of them who is being looked at as a coach of the year candidate. Which, speaking of that, coach of the year is what we're going on to now. So I'll let Cam, I'll let you do yours first, and then I'll go, and then Michael will go last for this one.
Yeah, Bryce, he said it best. Brian DeBole, part of the reason why Saquon has been so good, his scheme for the Giants has been flawless so far, besides, a couple of poor games. The big thing for me, though, the reason why I have Brian DeBole as my coach of the year is the way that he has changed Danny Jones. Danny Dimes was nothing before Brian DeBole. Danny Dimes, people were, they're going to draft a quarterback, maybe in the future. Brian DeBole has changed Danny Dimes' mindset. I know there's multiple occasions where, you see him out there with blood all over his hand, all over his wrist and stuff, on his throwing hand and whatnot. And Brian DeBole has kind of coached this team up to be more physical and more, what's the word? God, I can't. Sorry, I'm struggling here. More like mental and mentally prepared and whatnot. And he's the reason why they are in the position they are in. And I think that they'd be leading, or they'd be in the lead in the NFC East if they were not in the same division as the Cowboys and Eagles.
Yeah. Okay. I get what you're saying there. So for me, I'm a little torn between two NFC East coaches. I don't know what to choose. I mean, back in February, I feel like I do know who I'm going to choose. Back in February, obviously, I talked so highly on Brian DeBole on the first episode. And I know Cameron talked highly on Mike McDaniel in that episode as well. Mike McDaniel's a very good candidate as well, but I don't have him up here. I had Brian DeBole or Nick Sirianni. But I'm gonna go with Brian DeBoll, even though Nick Sirianni's got an 8-0 squad right now. I think just the fact that he's turned around the Giants and made them from a pretty poor team to a 6-2 team, um, has shows volume of how good of a coach he is. I mean, I was talking about it as back in February. I can tell you right now. I said being the Bills' old offensive coordinator is going to help a ton, despite if he. I mean, just running that offense, you saw how successful the Bills' offense is. You see how successful it is usually now. I mean, it bringing that over to the Giants and being able to unleash Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley. However, you haven't really been able to unleash a true wide receiver one on the squad yet, especially because you traded Kadarius Toney, who was acting like he's hurt, but he's not. But I just got Brian DeBoll at Coach of the Year. I almost said wide receiver one. Just for that sole reason, just he's turned that squad around, and I mean, this team looks like a playoff team now. I mean, you can't say it's a fluke anymore. We're 9 weeks in, and they're still 6-2, and sixth in the conference. When it comes to playoffs, at least they're about. I think they might be fourth in the playoffs for record. And that's where I have to say that Brian DeBoll is going to be my coach of the year.
Michael?
Oh, is it my turn?
Yeah.
So this may be a bit of a hot, but I'm gonna go with the Jets head coach Robert. I don't know how to say
Robert
his last
Saleh?
name. Saleh. That's it.
Yeah. The
I
old
didn't want to
Niners
put
D
him.
coordinator.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to go with him. I mean, the record speaks for itself. They beat the Buffalo Bills. They were pretty high power ranked, and they beat them. Like again, last year, going into this year, they're the Jets. Oh no, another fluky year where the Jets just suck. And look at them. They're leading their, maybe they're not leading their division. I don't know.
They're in terms of like in division record, the Jets are leading the division.
Jets are 2-1 in the division. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and again, they beat the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills going into this year, they were the number one power rank. Like
That's
they
true.
were like they were expected to be Super Bowl favorites because they were solid last year, they were golden last year, and they're golden this year. But they lost to the New York Jets. And I give big props to Robert Saleh because he has been on point with everything that they have done and the offense, the defense, everything that he has done has been perfect. He's done such a good job of coaching this team. I think he should be traded or he should sign with the Raiders. That's just me though.
Okay.
He ain't coming to the Raiders. He's got sauce.
You shouldn't just have signed Josh McDaniels in the first place if you
For
wanted.
real.
Yeah, if we didn't sign Josh McDaniels, our record would have been flipped right now.
Oh,
No, we'd be like
bitch.
5-4, but
Yeah.
No, we'd be positive. It wasn't for Josh McDaniels.
4-4. Still losing to the Saints though.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Next time they're
Bryce,
easy.
what is our next category that we're going to be talking about?
I love defense, so we're gonna leave defense for second to last, but we'll get the worst side of the ball out of the way first, starting with offensive player of the year. Michael, do you want to start us off with this one?
My headphones cut out. I wasn't listening.
Offensive player of the year. That's what we're working on
Player of the
now.
year, start us off.
Player of the year. Who's starting? Bryce or me?
You.
Oh, okay. I'm going Tyreek. I'm going
Fair enough.
Tyreek
Yeah, I
Hill.
mean, yeah, it speaks for itself, right? Like Tyreek.
Yeah,
It really
That's who
does.
I have too.
Tyreek Hill
Did
on
you also have
pace
Tyreek, Bryce?
all
to
three
be
of
a
us have
receiving
Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. I mean,
to be on pace to have the most receiving yards ever. Like,
yeah.
and it's week 9, week 10. Like he's doing God's work. He's insane. Tyreek Hill
Doing
his
God's
name
work.
is known. He's known.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he's on his own hill. Like when you're running, you go up hills to lose weight. Tyreek Hill, that's his last name. That's what he does. He runs.
Yeah, I think that Tyreek, and you imagine how good he could be if he found the end zone more often. Only 2 touchdowns this year, both of them coming against the Ravens.
You might have
I mean,
three.
does he have 3 now? I
Yeah.
think I
think so.
misread that
I
then.
think it's
So
3.
yeah,
I
no,
think it's
yeah.
3.
So he's
last
got
week.
yeah,
He
yeah,
got
he got yeah. So sorry. Yeah, Tyreek Hill, 3 touchdowns on the year. Imagine he had more. He should have more. Unfortunately, Tua, who he claims is the most accurate quarterback in the league, underthrows him quite a bit.
He's the 41.
well.
Um,
So you also got to take account the 3 games that Tua was also out.
yeah,
Two,
fair enough.
2.5 technically.
Yeah, I
With
don't. Yeah, because
had to do
he only had like 60 receiving yards with like Skylar Moore, whoever
He
the
had
hell
no,
that is.
actually he had
No, wait,
170.
he had a big receiving game that game. I lied.
Yes,
He had
he had
60 with
177.
Teddy.
He had 47 with Bridgewater. Um,
Yeah.
and another thing I just want to point out is he has 5 100-yard games so far in the year, and all of them are above 140 yards.
Ooh,
Yeah, and
He had
also
the
it's
the
not
cheetah
even
the
not even
cheetah
just
can
the
run.
stats of Tyreek. Like
The
he's
cheetah
also
likes to
helped
run.
out Tua. Like Tua has become like a known person because of Tyreek.
he is
Yep.
helping Tua a lot. Yep.
Ty
You look
Tyreek has helped Tua become that superstar because
yes.
he's helped him out so much and given Tua the respect that he deserves. Because before this, I didn't know who the hell Tua was. I didn't care about him. And now, after Tyreek, he's helping him out. He's giving him the main stage.
That's a good point. You look at his stats too. He leads the league in receptions and receiving yards with 76 and 1,104.
Yeah, he's on pace to be at 2,100 yards. Like, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
and he's has 122.7 yards a game, which is, if you look at it, incredible. And a big thing I do want to talk about is his average yards per catch, perception. I know I may sound biased, but hey, his is only zero point 0.1 higher than Chris Olave's.
Okay, bro.
Mm,
Also,
mm.
another thing I want to point out is Cooper Kupp's historic season that he had last year. You put that side by side to Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill has more yards a game, so Tyreek Hill's on pace to have a way better season, which we have talked about.
Is
Tyreek just better.
yeah, but he
Cooper
won't.
Kupp.
What
Yep.
at the end of the year, like comparing the two, obviously Tyreek Hill, if he does go for more, if he does break the receiving record, and he does end up with the most receptions in the league, he could break Cooper Kupp's record, right? Isn't he on
No,
pace to break Cooper
it's
Kupp's
Michael
record of
Thomas.
receptions?
I think it still
He
may
is.
might be Thomas's record.
Or yeah, no, I thought Cooper Kupp had it.
I do
Is it
not
Michael
know.
Thomas? I know that Cooper Kupp is up there with Michael Thomas, if it is Michael
It
Thomas, but
is.
but what I'm trying to say is,
It's still
at
Michael
the end of the
Thomas.
year,
Cooper Kupp was
what
4 years
what
away.
sorry, yeah. So at the end of the year, you have
Oh,
Tyreek Hill, who breaks the receiving record. Obviously gets in the top 5 of receptions.
mhm.
What season do you value more, or which offensive player of the year would you value more? Cooper Kupp's triple crown or Tyreek's history breaker?
That's a good question, actually. I don't know. Personally, Cooper Kupp's triple crown was something we haven't seen in such a long time. So that's where I could say Cooper Kupp's was more valuable. But you got to also look at what happened. The reason I'd say Cooper Kupp's is more valuable is because um, they ended up winning the freaking Super Bowl. So I
Yeah,
think that's more valuable.
that's probably what I'd have to go with too. All right. What's our what are we doing next? DPOY?
Yes, DPOI. So we're going to
Yeah.
the better side of the football.
The
I
winning,
DPOI.
think I think I think
the
this
side of
one
the
might be
football that wins you championships. At least
Championships,
up until
baby.
29, at least up until 2019,
Yes.
and then offensive decided to start winning championships.
All right. So
Screw
we'll get
you,
it
Patrick
started.
Mahomes.
We'll get it started here. With my personal DPOY. I've got Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons is just an absolute freak athlete in his second year. He's already a top 5 defender in the league. It was really hard to say no about a lot of players, such as, Matthew Judon, who leads the league in sacks with 11 and a half. Nick Bosa, who has 8.5 sacks, who's an absolute freak. Zadarius Smith, even too, he's playing great as for Minnesota. But I just got Micah Parsons just because he's that all-around athlete for Dallas. And excuse me, in 8 games, He has two passes defended, two forced fumbles, fumble recovery. He's got a touchdown, 36 combined tackles, 9 tackles for loss, 14 QB hits, 8 sacks. That's enough said for me. Just the all around athlete, all around player.
Yeah. I mean,
Michael.
to be fair, though, I mean, I don't want to get into the details, but technically he shouldn't have a touchdown. But we won't talk about it.
Okay, Michael.
Yeah, I mean, Micah Parsons, he's just been pretty outstanding this year. I mean, like you said, there's a lot of defensive players who have showed up, like Matthew Judon. He's been there and he has a chance. And he's been pretty good, leading the league in sacks. But Micah Parsons has just been, he's kicking ass in every category, not just sacks. Like,
Oh yeah.
he's just kicking ass. That's why I think he deserves the Defensive Player of the Year. Because he's dominating every category besides sacks. But even then, he still has 8 sacks on the seasons for playing 8 games.
He's
That's
still
a sack
top
a
5.
game. Yeah, that's a sack a game. That's not horrible, and he could get even better as the year goes on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, we all don't agree on who Defensive Player of the Year will be. And
Yeah,
kind of like Bryce, I do feel like there's a little bit of bias in this, but I had Nick Bosa. I believe that Nick Bosa,
Wow.
if he doesn't miss a game or the 2 games, sorry, he is the Defensive Player of the Year. Um, and I think that he will win Defensive Player of the Year simply because he is so dominant in that defensive front. And that's really all there is to it. Nick Bosa, really dominant. He's always in the backfield, always causing problems for the enemy team's quarterback. You know, and teams try and hold him. It's something that I've kind of picked up on recently as I watched more of the Niners film. Nick Bosa is getting held on like every single play, and they're like never calling it. They started calling it more often, but like they never called it. And he still has 8 tackles for loss, or more than 8 tackles. Or no, that's right, 8 tackles for losses. He's got like 8 sacks. Like he is always in the backfield and always somebody that you need to fear, and that is what I feel the Defensive Player of the Year should be.
Okay, that you've got a good point. But me and Michael still don't agree.
That's that's fair enough. I think that
I love Nick. I
I
love Nick.
agree. I think that it could be Micah Parsons too.
Yeah, I could see that it could be Nick Bosa.
There's
I love
just
Nick
so many.
Bosa.
There's so many good defensive players that it's unstoppable. Like there's so many good players for
There is.
defense. It's just like
Yeah,
it can
right.
be so close. Like
What a
Nick
great point.
Bosa, it's
Yeah.
crazy. Nick Bosa and Micah Parsons, Matthew Judon, 3 of those guys, they're so good at what they do. But at the end of the year, it comes down to who's the best.
It
Yeah, I mean,
does.
who thought that Matthew Judon was going to lead the league in sacks this year? That's a mouth teaser.
That's
Yeah.
a mouthful, yeah. But it is kind of funny looking at it too, is like you think of it, Nick Bosa, Micah Parsons, they're kind of younger, and then Matthew Judon, who's like probably 30 something. I don't know.
About
He's a
as old
little
as
old.
Tom Brady. No, not
Okay,
that
maybe
old.
maybe not that old, but
Maybe not that old.
all right. Well, we're gonna move on to the biggest
Matthew
award
Judon's
of the
30.
day. Michael, if you want to start, you can. It's gonna be the MVP award. I know that we all don't agree on the same guy, but I believe 2 of us agree on the same person.
Yeah, I mean, when we were talking about this earlier, when we were thinking of who's going to be this award, you guys were saying Jalen Hurts, Patty Mahomes, and then I shoot out Lamar Jackson, and then all of a sudden, Bryce is like, "Wow!" Like Lamar Jackson, he's been incredible this year. He's been dominant for any offense, and just by this year, I saw a post showing that Lamar Jackson is the fastest player in all of NFL to have 100 passing touchdowns and over 4,000 rushing yards. He's done that
Yeah.
in 67 games. Like, that's crazy. 4,000 rushing yards and 100 passing touchdowns in
Yep.
67 career games.
He's nuts.
Lamar Jackson is, and this does nothing to do with this year because that's his whole career, but he's been dominating it this year. He's been doing so much unstoppable things this year. Like he's
Mhm.
Lamar Jackson. Like he's the speed demon.
You can just easily just put it that way. He's Lamar Jackson. He's a
Exactly.
generation. He's a
He's the
generation.
goat.
He's a generational talent. And I'm actually on the same side as Michael after he told me that. I originally had Jalen Hurts or Josh Allen. However, Josh Allen last week didn't really show me signs of kind of scared me. He had 2 interceptions, no touch. I don't think he had any passing
And
touchdowns.
losing to the Jets.
Um, regardless, Josh Allen's still a top candidate. I think he's still the favorite. Jalen Hurts still a dog. I also said Lamar, and here's why. He's got 1768 passing yards, which isn't the highest. It's less than Jacoby Brissett and Derek Carr.
Derek Carr.
And he's got 16 passing touchdowns, 6 interceptions, a 93.6 passer rating. But here's my big thing is the dual threat ability of Lamar Jackson is what really opens my eye. He has 635 rushing yards off of 86 attempts and 2 touchdowns. As a quarterback, I mean, the closest quarterback to him is Justin Fields with 602, but he's got more attempts. This guy is a quarterback having more yards than Kenneth Walker, who has not played the whole season. Anyways, Dalvin Cook, Aaron Jones, Joe Mixon, Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor, Ezekiel Elliott, Alvin Kamara, Austin Eckler. Now, a lot of these guys I'm listing are good dual threat running backs, but the fact that a quarterback is doing this and the quarterback's in the top 10 for rushing yards, it happens every year, and it's crazy. And that's why I just think he really deserves, if this team keeps doing well and he just keeps on playing better and better and better and better and better, Lamar Jackson will win MVP. It's almost guaranteed at that point, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of good players in the league right now. Going on with, I know Cam's got his guy, so Cam, going on with your guy, he's one of the good player in the leagues, but
Yeah. I didn't roll with Lamar. I think that Lamar is obviously a candidate. He's incredibly good, at what he does. However, I think that the MVP role goes to the guy that helps his team win the most. And, he showed why this guy showed that he does exactly that on Sunday night. And the guy I'm talking about is Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes leads the league in touchdowns and passing yards. I mean, if you know football, you know that Patrick Mahomes does the crazy stuff. He throws sidearm, he throws with the eyes closed, he throws when he's not even looking at you. I mean, he could probably throw underneath his legs if he really wanted to. And he is the most fun player to watch in the league. Of course, up there with Lamar and stuff. And he just helps his team win. I mean, everybody thought that Tyreek leaving was going to, really hurt the Chiefs. They thought that the Chiefs weren't going to be as good. They still thought they were going to be good. And the Chiefs have kind of just blown those expectations out of the water. You take away that one loss against the Colts and, you got a 7-1 Chiefs team that lost to the Bills, who I mean, it's the Bills, that was the Bills Chiefs game was a coin toss. And that's why.
Oh my
Sorry, go ahead.
I just realized what you said. It was a coin toss.
Yeah.
I get what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's the MVP for the Chiefs is the coin.
Yep. No. Yeah. It is the MVP for the Chiefs, and it's the kryptonite for the Bills.
It is the kryptonite for the Bills. Well,
I heard Josh Allen doesn't carry cash, so that way he doesn't ever have to see coins again.
I getcha. I get.
Josh Allen could also be an MVP. Keep that in mind.
100%. There's so many good quarterbacks in the NFL currently. Jalen Hurts.
The league is in great. The
Lamar,
league is in.
Tua's awesome.
All right, we gotta incorporate a talking stick. We gotta get a talking stick.
Yeah.
There's been but I love.
Oh my God, we're still doing it.
Tua is nowhere near MVP, but he's a great quarterback. That's what I'm talking about. Quarterback
as a top 12 quarterback this season. Not in the league this season. This season
Yeah.
he's been fantastic. I mean, ever since coming back from injury, he's been looking great too. He's
Yeah.
almost got 2,000 yards. He's
I
played
don't
what?
think Tua has a chance to win MVP. I mean, there's no chance. He's not going to. But he's been a good quarterback. There's so many good quarterbacks in the league
Mhm.
that just like it shows promise. Like they're all unstoppable.
Yeah.
And that's
Fair
gonna
enough.
end our award segment.
Before
Michael.
we go on, I do want to say one thing about the Ravens and Lamar. There is a big chance he gets even more rushing yards because for the rest of the year, they're not really going against anything too amazing.
That
The
is fair.
schedule's
And
pretty weak.
and most of the defenses just suck. Like after all of this, he could honestly get into the top 5 for rushing yards this year. And if he does, I honestly think he could secure a spot at MVP.
It's
If he
possible.
gets into that top 5 because there are really no good defenses. They still have both games against the Steelers to play, and they're the Steelers. They're not
Is the
great.
second half just against the Raiders? I mean, if that's the case, then Lamar's winning MVP and breaking every single quarterback record of all time.
You're pretty funny, aren't you? I didn't hear anyone laugh though.
I am pretty funny.
No,
All
you're
right,
not.
all right.
All right.
I'll stop. I'll stop.
Well, uh, Michael's gonna have to leave. So, Michael, I wanna say thank you for hopping on for this first half segment. Best of luck at your job orientation, sir.
And just like the Raiders, the first half's always the best part. Second half, that's where they struggle.
Were you doing your job orientation, Michael?
Target.
Target. Do you have a pair of
I'm being a
khakis?
seasonal worker.
Do you have a pair of
I
khakis?
I don't.
Big
I was
Target
told
worker.
I was gonna get a call from a team member about dress code and what time. Nope, no call.
No
Huh.
call.
Fair
I'm
enough.
I'm showing up in black pants and a polo shirt.
Deal. All right. Well, good luck with that, my friend. And
Yeah,
we'll see you later. If you want to play Modern Warfare or anything, hit me up.
yeah. I'll also see you
We'll
guys
importantly see you on the next
on
episode.
yeah, most likely. Talk about how
All
the
right.
Raiders ended up losing again.
Probably
Probably.
talking about that.
So we
So
can also talk about how the Saints are gonna get dominated.
okay, we don't. Okay, let's calm down there, guy.
All right,
We
I'm
play
leaving.
the Steelers. All right, see you,
All
Michael.
right. Bye, Michael.
All
right.
right,
All
on
right.
to the next segment.
Next
Cameron.
segment.
We've got our playoffs. Our playoff predictions. I'm pretty sure we have the same 14 teams regardless of position in our playoffs. I think we kind of just all
NFC is
think
the
the
same.
same. I think Cam and I really think the same when it comes to this type of stuff.
We did predict that the Dolphins were going to be really good, and the Eagles back
We
in like
did.
February, like
We
before the
did.
Super Bowl was even played.
Yes, back before the Super Bowl was even played.
So like, we're psychic. You listen to us. There's a reason you're listening to this podcast. It's because we are the greatest analyst.
We're better than any analyst on the NFL Network.
Exactly. Adam Schefter don't know shit.
Yes, exactly. All he knows is how to say controversial things.
Exactly. Like Tom Brady's retired.
Yes. All right. So we'll get it started. Do you want to start AFC or NFC?
Whatever you want to do. I think that the NFC one is probably less fun than the AFC. So if you want to start NFC and finish off with AFC,
I like that. The NFC one is not as not much to talk about. I'm pretty sure we do have the same exact ranking.
exact same.
At the 7 spot, I have the Giants. I believe Cameron has the Giants as well.
Yeah, no, we're the exact same on this entire list.
They're that playoff squad that you can see make it that I don't see going far. I see the Giants making the playoffs, but hardly making it because I don't know if they'll be able to consistently keep up their schedule and keep them in that 6th spot, especially with the loss against the Seahawks as well. The Seahawks have that a head-to-head matchup over them, which is also my 6th. I have the Seattle Seahawks at 6. because I don't see them winning the division. I see there's a different team that we'll get to later that will win the division, but Seattle I still think is a playoff team.
Yeah. Kenneth Walker, Geno Smith. I don't. So like with the Giants and the Seahawks, obviously, I think that those are two teams that can make the playoffs. Obviously, looking for more pieces. So I think that those are two wild card exit teams.
Yeah, I think those are.
Moving, yeah. Moving forward. What's our 5 spot? Hold on. Let me go through our list.
Okay, my 5 spot. I've got the Dallas Cowboys.
Yep.
I think they're the best non-division leader in the NFL, in my opinion. Um, just they'd be you look at it, they'd be winning any division if they weren't the NFC North and the NFC East. Enough said. And they
Yeah.
still have to be in the NFC East.
And I mean that's primarily without Dak Prescott. I mean Dak Prescott just got back, and they're waiting for him to be fully functional. He's getting back to that point. You don't expect a guy to be 100% when he comes back from injury, unless it's like Saquon, right? But I mean they're still waiting on him, and I think that that's a team that could make a run. Unfortunately, it is the Cowboys that would be making the run, but it is something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I think they are because especially the way that we have this listed, the team they would play in the wild card, they can easily beat, which is the Atlanta Falcons. I think the Falcons will win the NFC South. Unfortunately, they're my least. Okay, they're the team I hate the least in the NFC South. I'll say that. Because being a Saints fan, you gotta hate your divisional rivals. But I don't mind the Falcons anymore because they're not. Because I love Marcus Mariota. If they still had Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, that team, I would despise them. But they don't. They have Marcus Mariota, who I like, Cordell Patterson, who I like watching. Drake London, as much as I hate USC, I love watching him succeed because he's a dog. So I have the Falcons at 4. Cameron also has the Falcons at 4. But the
Yep.
Falcons are they're that the case of they're kind of like the Washington Commanders 2 years ago.
Yeah.
The,
I mean,
the weak division leader
uh-huh.
probably gonna get eliminated first round, does get eliminated first round. That's where I see the Falcons.
Yeah. Number 3 though. Number 3 are our second division winner. We both had the Niners. Niners, picked up CNC right before the deadline. He had the 3 touchdown day where he caught one, threw one, and rushed one in. I mean, they were without Debo. They were without most of their defense, and most of all these guys are coming back now after the bye week. Unfortunately, Jason Verrett out for the rest of the year. Not a key piece though. The key piece: Nick Bosa, Hufanga, and Fred Warner all going to be healthy for the late stretch of the year. And I
And,
honestly, and it might sound biased, but this is like a team that I am really I'm having a lot of fun watching them, and I'm really hoping that we make a deep run like we did last year.
yeah, I personally think they can. They have a better squad from last year. If they had Trey Lance, I wish they still did because I was very high on the Trey Lance train because I love Trey Lance. Love
Yeah,
seeing North Dakota State be able to prove
yeah.
himself like Carson Wentz, but I don't really like Carson Wentz anymore.
Nobody likes Carson Wentz.
But yeah, I have the Niners at 3. I just think they have a very well-rounded squad, especially now with not Saquon, Christian
On.
McCaffrey. Um, but that's got them at number 3. Number 2, the 7-1 Vikings. Who would have thought they would be 7-1? I didn't at all. I mean, Kirk Cousins is playing like a beast. If I'm a Minnesota Vikings fan, I'm asking the NFL to schedule every single game we've got for the rest of the year at 1 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah. No, man. Vikings look really good. I mean, Kirk Cousins looking like a new man. I mean, he's on the plains, he's got the chains on, he's dancing around. He's getting sturdy. Justin Jefferson getting sturdy. Dalvin Cook getting sturdy. And they've got pieces on the defense. A really solid Vikings team. Not the best schedule. And I think that that's kind of what propels them to being the 2 spot in the NFC playoffs. And our number 1, most of y'all probably know who it is. If you do your if you do the elimination stuff, collective common sense reasoning,
Yes.
words and stuff, are number one in the NFC, and probably, the odds of them having a perfect season, they have higher odds of having a perfect season than not. The Eagles, Philadelphia Eagles, getting the first round bye.
Yep.
Bryce, want to tell me a little bit more on why the Eagles are here?
Um, as we said in the first podcast episode, you went, let's talk about the Eagles. And I said, let's talk about the Eagles. You said, are you going to get up and do your fly, Eagles fly? And I didn't do
Oh
it.
yeah,
We had done it in the one that got deleted, and I didn't do it in the one that posted. Although you can't see a camera right now. Cameron, I
oh
think you
yeah,
can imagine
oh
right
yeah.
now.
You know what
I'm
I'm doing. You know what I'm doing.
fly.
Fly
Eagles
Eagles
fly.
fly. Fly Eagles
There's a
fly.
reason they're 8-0. It's the coaching, the offense, the defense. The first off, the CJ Gardner Johnson pickup they got in the offseason, dude leads the league in interceptions. It hurts my heart to see him doing good.
No, he's
Doing good on
second.
a different team. But I love seeing what?
He's second.
No, he's first.
No, Sauce Gardner's first.
Sauce Gardner only has 2 interceptions.
Sauce Gardner's 5.
He only has 2. Look at it. We talked about it earlier.
No, I could have sworn.
CJ
Oh,
Gardner
I
Johnson.
read.
You saw
I'm an
Gardner.
idiot.
You saw Gardner.
I saw Gardner.
Yeah, CJ
I'm
Gardner
bad
Johnson
with my
has 5.
stats.
Um,
I'm a fake fan.
the
I'm a
Eagles.
casual.
Darius Slay's a great corner. Great corner. They got James Bradbury as well. They just got Robert Quinn from the Bears. They have Fletcher Cox. They have Jalen Hurts on offense. Miles Sanders, AJ Brown, who's a monster. Dallas Goedert, Quez Watkins, Devonta Smith. This team is good. Jason Kelsey at catcher, center. What am I talking about?
Catcher. He's playing catcher. He's playing for the
He's playing
Giants.
baseball.
He was in the World Series playing for the
He was
Phillies.
in the World Series. I'm trying to get out of that baseball mood after the World Series. Congratulations to the Houston Astros. But
fair and square this time.
This that's true. But the Eagles are just 8-0 for a reason. It's because they're the best. They're the best, well-rounded team in this league, man.
Just the best team in general, man.
And I hate to say it. I mean, a lot of people think that their first 8 games haven't been really great teams. Their schedule doesn't get any harder.
And it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't get harder. It doesn't really get easier either. They kind of just play the same So I think the team win percentage is almost identical to the first half, and they also play in the NFC East, which the NFC East is not a cakewalk this year by any means. But they did beat the Cowboys, they did beat the Commanders. I am interested to see how they play against the Giants. They haven't played the Giants, have they?
I do not think they have.
I don't think so. Yeah. So they've got 2 games coming up with the Giants that should be interesting. The thing I want to talk about that propels the Eagles to the number 1 spot for me though is their defense. Like you said, CJ Gardner Johnson leading the league in interceptions. Apparently I'm a fake fan. I don't do my research. Really, 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 really solid defense, really solid defensive line, and I think the Robert Quinn pickup is really good for the Eagles. You saw the Rams do that last year where they picked up OBJ late in the year. Helped them. He was the sole reason, or he was a driving factor to why they made the Super Bowl. And I think that Robert Quinn is going to be the guy for the Eagles and help them, for Eagles fans at least, hopefully propel them to the big stage, the big game, the big one.
That's the Eagles' goal. Their goal isn't to make the playoffs; it's to make that big game. So that's why they've been 8-0 so far, playing fantastic. So props to them. We'll move on to the AFC. We got a little hyper
division.
Talking about the Eagles, the more fun conference, where we do have the same 7 teams, but not in the same order. I'll start off with my number 7. I've got the New York Jets. The reason I have the Jets at 7 is I think they're really good. They're a good squad, 2-1 in the division so far. I just don't know if they can keep that up. This defense is amazing. However, Zach Wilson at times looks very shaky, and that's my big thing. Is they need to find a way to control Zach Wilson. If Zach Wilson can't keep it under control, they're not going to win football games. And he kept it under control against Buffalo, and that's when they won. But I'm going to put him at 7 for that. I think this division is just great. I think there's going to be at least three teams in the AFC East in the playoffs.
Yeah. I've got another AFC East team at my 7th spot. It isn't the Jets, it is the Dolphins. Tua, Tyreek, Waddle, very good connection. The defense still not at the point you want them to be at. You saw Justin Fields kind of run all over them last week. I think that defense will get better as time goes on. They do have a bit of an easier schedule in the second half, and they are still playing in the AFC East, which is arguably the best division in football, right behind maybe the NFC East, but that's my 7th spot.
Your 7th spot. Well, your 7th spot is my 6th spot. I've got the Dolphins in 6th. I think their squad's great. A fully healthy squad for them is pretty much very beneficial for them. Jeff Wilson Jr. too. Amazing trade deadline pickup. I've had him in fantasy, so that's why I'm a little biased towards it. Shout out him for getting me 16 points last week. However, I'm benching him. Start Donta Foreman. He's playing the Falcons. Last time he did, he had 31 points. However,
yeah, that was like a week ago. You say last time they played, like that wasn't like literally like 10 days ago.
2 weeks ago. All right. Okay, we don't need to talk.
Yeah, it was like 2 weeks ago. That's awesome though. I love that they did that. I think that they should do division games like back to back, Like play one on Sunday. Like Bills Chiefs on Sunday night, and then give us another Bills Chiefs on Monday night, man.
Well, they're not in the same division, so they can't do that.
Well, still, I don't care. Fuck it. Let the Bills and Chiefs play every single week.
Make the Super Bowl a best of 5 series. No, just kidding.
Yes. 5 straight days, right?
5 straight days.
5 straight days. Dude, that would be torture. That's like those one memes that's like let's have an 82 game regular season.
That would be insanity.
That would be insanity. It'd probably be mostly XFL players by the end of the year or by the end of the season.
Dude, have like
it'd be bad. It'd be bad.
You have like Shea Patterson being the starting quarterback.
You'd have Tom Brady's son take over for him before the season was even over.
Waylon Breeze would be the Saints quarterback.
Yeah, Drew Brees would be the coach.
Dude,
it'd be chaos.
With the Dolphins.
How many coaches do you think they would go through in a year like that? Or like not a year, it wouldn't even be a year. So an 82 game season would last like 3 years, right? Something like that.
If you did it by a week schedule, it would last.
Yeah, well, it'd last like a year and a half, but like, you got to include some bye weeks or something. I think an 82 game regular season, as crazy as it could be, would work if they had like a couple of like 1 month periods, in there. You slide in a couple 1 month periods, dude. Give us 82 games. Give us 82 games of Lamar Jackson.
Well, let's get back on topic.
Yeah, sorry.
We're good. We kind of just had a little fun there, but
yeah.
Dolphins. I like Tua. I like Tyreek a ton as he's all of our consensus offensive player of the year. This squad's just a solid squad. They've got a good defense. So that's really all much I got to say about Miami. I'll move on to my number 5, which is. Oh, sorry, you haven't even said your number 6. What am I?
No, dude, we're chilling. My 6th spot. It's not nothing too interesting. It's the Bengals. Joe Mixon, stud. Joe Burrow, looking all right. Without Jamar Chase though, so I feel like they're gonna get better as time goes on. Just like the Dolphins. A team to watch out for. They made the Super Bowl last year. They were kind of sluggish to start. That's why I have them at the 6th spot and not higher. Because they were very slow to start off. That Super Bowl hangover was hitting pretty hard. Yes. But 6th spot for the Bengals, I think is very reasonable, and I think that they will get it done.
It didn't hit as hard, however, like it did the Rams.
No, dude, the Rams are struggling.
I'll move on to my number 5. Is actually Cam's number 6. I've got the Bengals at 5. I just think they'll, at the end of the day, they'll just beat the Dolphins by maybe like a game. Joe Burrow's really stepping it up a lot more. He's looking a lot better recently. However, without Jamar Chase, it's a little bit of a question. I believe they're 5-4, 4-4.
You said the Bengals?
They're 5-4, right? Did they play last week?
They did. Yeah, Joe Mixon had like 5 touchdowns.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Almost broke the fantasy record, but they stopped giving him the fucking ball. God.
They're 5-4. And I think they're a better team than 5-4, so they'll finish the season better off. And that's why I think they're going to be 5, because I think they're going to be a better second half team than the Dolphins and Jets. However, no disrespect to the other teams, I think they're still going to have decent second halves. What's your number 5? I think I maybe know what it is. It might be a shocker though.
It is a big shocker, actually. So my number 5 team, I have the Buffalo Bills. Now,
Wow.
the reason I have the Buffalo Bills here is because I don't believe that they are going to win their division. I'm sure that you guys can probably guess who I believe that is going to win the division. Um, I think that the Bills, as good as they are, they have not been good in division. They're currently sitting at 0-2. And they can lose any game. They can lose to the Patriots. They've shown that they can lose to the Jets and the Dolphins. It's really dependent on how good that defense is later in the year. They've taken shots. They're trying to stay healthy. Haven't been so good at it. Josh Allen just went out with an arm injury now. I mean, the Bills kind of hitting a rough stretch. I'm hoping personally that they do, triumph, or they do prove me wrong and they do win that division, because I think that the Bills are a very good team, and I do not think that the Bills should be losing in the first round of the NFL playoffs.
Yeah, I think they'll make it. Obviously, I think you guys can tell already. They're already who or they're gonna be. Um, but they'll definitely. Obviously, the Bills are gonna freaking make the playoffs of the Bills unless they lose 9 straight. But that's not happening. But you never count them out. But them at 5, I still think them at 5 regardless is gonna put them into a deep playoff run. But
Yeah.
I think your input is interesting. I think it's very interesting. We'll move on to number 4, where I've got the Tennessee Titans. Never in my life did I think I'd ever say this at the beginning of the season, but the Titans need Ryan Tannehill.
Mm.
People were hating on him a lot this early beginning of the season, but after that Malik Willis show on Sunday, they need Ryan Tannehill. He was 5 for 15 on passes. However, he made a lot of flashy like scrambling plays, but still got sacked. I really hope the best for Malik Willis, but he's just not ready to play quarterback for the Titans. Their only upside once again is a pretty good defense and Derrick Henry. They don't have a solidified wide receiver one.
Traylon Burks is coming back, though.
He is coming back. They're gonna win their division. I mean, they were on a 5-game winning streak before losing to the Chiefs, but I think they're a team that is gonna lose in the first round.
Yeah, I'm sitting in that same boat with you. I mean, the Titans, I mean, they've got the benefit of being in a very, very, very bad division, a division that's, mostly you could argue that the other 3 teams, the Jaguars, Colts, and Texans, are rebuilding. Jaguars are still like in that weird phase of like they want to be good, but like they're not. And that's why I have that's why I have the Titans higher at 3, and I have the Ravens at 4. But I'll talk about the Titans. The Titans, like you said, good defense. Derrick Henry, Traylon Burks coming back. Ryan Tannehill, I mean, he's not he's a game manager. He's not like the guy that you like are gonna win a Super Bowl with, but
That's exactly.
he'll definitely get them to the playoffs. Of course, barring that the AFC South is not that good.
Yeah.
And however, my number 4 team, the Ravens. I have the Ravens in here simply because they've got the better team in the AFC West. Wait, what? No, AFC North. Wait, what? Yeah, they're the AFC North. I'm tripping out. So in the AFC North, the division isn't that competitive. The Steelers are obviously very bad. The Browns still waiting on Deshaun, and then the Bengals. I think that so long as the Bengals don't have Jamar Chase, the Ravens are going to beat them. The 2 games that they played. Sorry. And for that reason, I have the Ravens at 4. Now, Bryce, what is your 3 spot?
My 3 spot is the Ravens.
Okay, so we had those 2 flopped.
I think ours are flopped.
Flipped.
I think the Ravens are gonna win their division over the Bengals. Lamar's just, as I've said, I think he's MVP. This is gonna be the MVP this year. So, their defense is their biggest question mark. And Lamar has shown that he's capable of winning games without a good receiver. I mean, now Rashad Bateman's out for the rest of the year, which is best of luck for him recovering from that injury. But Lamar's definitely gonna not be able to throw as much. I'm just not too worried about the Ravens. If their defense just learns to step it up more and more and more, this team will be a very solid team. And that's really all I got to say about the Ravens. Is it's just the Lamar show in
Yeah.
Baltimore.
And I do want to clarify, I don't have the Titans above the Ravens because I think that the Titans are the better team. I have the Titans above the Ravens because I feel like the Titans will end with a better record because they are in a very bad division. And when it
That's
comes
true.
down to the playoffs, it matters about division.
That's a great point. I mean, the AFC North's a lot more difficult than the AFC South.
Exactly. Moving on to our number 2 spot, I believe that we both have the same
Amen.
team in here. Is
Mhm.
that correct?
Well, let's hear it.
Or no? I have the Chiefs in the number 2 spot.
I also
Yeah, I mean, the Pat Mahomes show. I mean, you have Pat Mahomes for 10 years, $500 million. I mean, you're gonna get every penny worth of that $500 million out of Pat Mahomes because Pat Mahomes is a stud. He's gonna make the playoffs for you every single year. Of course, barring that he doesn't get injured, which you never want for your guys. And Chiefs Nation. I mean, Arrowhead. Get that and get the Arrowhead going, man. Chiefs playoff run, dude. Chiefs are good. Bryce.
Amen. I've got them in there. The fact that they lost Kelsey, not Kelsey Hill, and I was thinking of Travis Kelsey. Travis
Mm-hmm.
Kelsey is just looking absolutely crazy good. I was talking about it a couple days ago with my friend here. Travis Kelsey's a top 5 pass catcher in the league, regardless of who's on his team. I mean, you saw it. He was like top 5 for like 3 straight years with Tyreek Hill on the squad as well. It's just and that's on top of that, they just got Kadarius Toney. They got absolute weapons on weapons on weapons. They've got you think of it, Mahomes, who's probably the best quarterback in the league, right?
Mm-hmm.
His receiving
Arguably.
core is Juju Smith-Schuster, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Kadarius Toney, Mecole Hardman, Travis Kelsey, and then in his backfield he has Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who is a little. I think he's the worst
He's in
starter.
a little slump.
Isaiah Pacheco, or however you say his name,
Yeah.
and Eric McKinnon. That
Yeah.
is
I mean,
absolutely great. All of those players, that's nuts.
yeah. I mean, the way that I kind of like to look at team's receiving corps is the different types of personnel they have and what the guys can do. Marcus Valdez-Scantling brings that deep route, that speed to the team. Kadarius Toney very shifty. Very he's very quick, very agile. Travis Kelsey, you know, he's the pass catcher, man. Like he'll catch you a ball and he'll run it upfield and he'll take every hit that the other team brings to them, but he'll just run right through them. Juju, I mean, he started off really slow. He's kind of proven to be that kind of flex option, that guy that can kind of do mostly all of it. Um, of course, besides like running the ball and whatnot, but he started to shine late and. I can talk about Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Isaiah Pacheco, but I mean they don't really get the ball enough to
They're
warrant
just
enough
committed.
talk. They're
They're
just
just
kind of
committed.
there. They bring the run game to it. They have the run game aspect that they bring. Um, oh, whoops. Okay,
But
yeah, and then the defense. Chiefs defense. A lot of people said it wasn't going to be that good without Tyrann Mathieu. They lost. What's his face? Who was the player that always gave up or gave up touchdowns?
Daniel Sorensen,
Daniel Sorensen. They lost Daniel Sorensen. Um,
they did.
didn't both of
Oh,
them go to the
they both went to New Orleans.
yeah. That's funny. I'm surprised we
We
haven't
don't.
seen one of those yet. Or
We don't play that.
a
We don't
picture
play
of
that.
Tyrann Mathieu with his arms in the air giving up while Daniel Sorensen is giving up an 80-yard bomb to like
Sorensen doesn't play.
yeah. That's because he's not that good. But the defense for the Chiefs is really solid, and I mean, there's really no flaws. They've shown that you can't really beat them unless like you've got the talent and the game plan. Oh, and that's not even to mention Andy Reid. I mean, Andy Reid is like the best coach in football. So, I mean, Chiefs, Chiefs at number 2 spot is kind of like a joke, but I mean, they'd be number 1 if they had Tyreek.
Mhm.
Now, number 1, Um,
Ours are different.
I'll let you go first because mine's
pretty
really.
self-evident.
My,
It's the Buffalo Bills. I just think the Buffalo Bills are the best team in the NFL. Josh Allen is a dog. Um, their team is just amazing. Offense, defense, special teams, everything about their team is great. Personally, I think the Bills are better than the Eagles. Surprisingly, although the Eagles are 8-0, I think the Bills, if they play the Eagles, would win. Even though we were talking a lot of praise on the Eagles.
yep.
I just the Bills, in my opinion, still are on pace to win a Super Bowl. And I don't really have much to say other than this team's got one of the best receivers, one of the best not running backs, one of the best quarterbacks, a pretty good running back in Devin
They got a
Singletary.
pretty good running back. Yeah, they got
One of
Naheem
the-
Hines.
And they got Naheem Hines too. Yeah, pretty good wide receiver too. Pretty good tight end, great defense, amazing defense, and then 2 top 10 safeties in my opinion. Arguably 2 top 10 safeties in Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde.
Yeah. Do you have anything else to say on the Buffalo Bills
No,
before I hit the audience with this absolute bombshell?
let's hit him with the bombshell.
Ladies and gentlemen, I was tasked today with picking my top 7 AFC playoff predictions.
I'll do the drum roll.
Bryce, drum roll please. It's not picking up.
It's not picking up. It's fine though.
It's not picking up. I'll do it. Ladies and gentlemen, my number 1 team in the AFC playoff picture is none other than the New York Jets.
Boom.
Bow, bow, bow.
Wow.
What? How could you
Explain.
possibly pick the New York Jets? Well, Sally and Sally and Jonah sitting at home listening to this podcast. The reason I picked the New York Jets, just beat the Bills. Robert Saleh, defensive legend, or defensive minded legend. Defensive minded legend. I mean,
Mhm.
he was with the Niners before. Awesome defensive coordinator, one of my favorites. I'm really sad that he had to leave, but I'm so happy that he's so successful, and I'm so happy that he's gonna lead the AFC playoffs. He's gonna get that first round bye. Zach Wilson is terrible. That is the only problem I have with this team. Is that Zach
Yeah.
Wilson is terrible.
Wilson
But
is stepping up.
what did they say before, Bryce? What wins championships?
Defense wins championships.
Who's the greatest defensive minded coach in the league?
Probably Bill Belichick.
That's bullshit. It's Robert Saleh, baby. That's the end of discussion. That's my team. That's my AFC playoff picture. So, do you care if I run over our NFC picture real quick, and then I'll let you run over the AFC? So our NFC playoff predictions: we had the Giants at 7, the Seahawks at 6, the Cowboys at 5. We had the Falcons winning their division at 4, the Niners at 3, the Vikings at 2, and then the Eagles at 1.
Yep. And then for the AFC, I had Jets 7. He had Dolphins 7. Bengals 6. I had Dolphins 6. He had Bills 5. I had Bengals 5. Ravens 4. Me Titans 4. And then I had Ravens 3. He had Titans 3. We both had Chiefs at 2, and then I had Bills 1. He had Jets 1. That is our playoff predictions. We'll definitely be coming back towards the end of the regular season to see how well we did with awards and the playoffs. And that's going to be all for us today, isn't it?
Yep, I believe that's it.
That's going to be all for.
Yeah.
So I'm going to wrap it up here. Cam, thanks for coming on and being here for the whole time.
Yeah.
Michael
Always
left
a pleasure.
earlier. Oh, it's always a
Unfortunately,
pleasure. It's always a pleasure.
had to go and get his khakis, go work at some Target,
Oh yeah, red
Hey,
shirt.
speaking of Target, you see that big old Target sign on the road? Do you ever just get like that feeling that you just want to drive into it?
No,
I get that feeling all the time. Like it's like a big old Target. I think about how cool it would look if I like hit a ramp into one of those things. That's just me though. I'll let you
Like
finish
GTA.
wrapping it up.
Like GTA.
Yeah, like GTA.
So that's gonna be it for this episode. Thanks for listening, everyone. Second episode. This is second week in a row, I believe. I've had 2 episodes in a week.
Getting that
Um,
grind in.
but I feel like I'm just trying to make up for that lack of time I missed in the summer and spring because of baseball and working. And
Yeah,
I
dude, we were balling.
I appreciate all the consistency, consistent fan base. I mean, it's not big, but it's growing. That's my thing. That's all that matters. You always got to start somewhere. And so that's all for me today. It's all for Cam today. Next one probably going to be an NFL one. I do a college football podcast every other week. If you guys have, that's what I'm going to start planning with the college football. Every week I'll put out the ranking top 6, and then every other week I'll do my top 25s. And with NFL, I try to do one once every week, and we're gonna have a great set of games tonight. We have the Carolina Panthers and the Atlanta Falcons.
We've got a lot of good games this week too.
Yes, we do.
This would be a good week to do a score prediction episode.
Yeah, but we're already super far.
I know. Yeah.
But we'll definitely make sure to do one of those. Probably next week, 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
But just make sure if you're listening to this on YouTube, like, subscribe, follow the socials. The handles will be in the description. If you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple, make sure to follow the podcast on there. And I appreciate everyone for listening. That's all for me. As I've said probably 3 times so far. And I'm gonna see y'all in the next one. Peace.
Later, guys.